Hey ladies and gentlemen of the internet, hope you've been well, hope you've been staying safe. Adrian here for Digital Dojos, and this video, well, it's a culmination of a series of videos that I should have done in the past. See, ever since I got settled in this home studio about a year and a half, nearly 2 years ago, I have been piling up boxes on stuff that I've been buying, trying out, using on a daily basis, whether it's personal or professional usage, and I've been keeping those boxes to tell myself, oh, you got to do some content on it, got to do a review, got to do a follow-up video, and I just haven't. So as I begin to organize and clean up the space a little bit, I figured why not just do a full roundup and quick review of these products. Mind you that I've been using these for, again, the last year, 2 years, whatnot, so this isn't just a pull it out the box and give you my initial impressions, and these are impressions from time that I've been using these products, and to kind of give you a quick condensed view of what I feel about them. That being said, I do plan on doing some more in-depth full reviews on some of these products, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, with that, there's a lot of stuff to cover, so let's dive right into it. First and foremost, what I have on my side here is the Sony PlayStation 5. So I picked this up early on during the pandemic. I did pay aftermarket for this in the sense that I didn't pay MSRP, and that's mainly because even now they're still extremely hard to get, and I'll be honest, just didn't want to wait, rather pay a couple extra $100 to get it and just kind of enjoy it while I could, had more extra time on my hands. So the Sony PlayStation 5 is definitely a console that I've gravitated towards more when it comes to the next-gen consoles. It's definitely felt, more next-gen in terms of hardware, and a lot of that's probably due to that DualSense controller. It's just the console I've gravitated towards more in gaming in general. So I've been playing that a lot more. It's the reason why it's in the home studio right now versus in the actual living room. But I grew up with Sony. Sony PlayStation 2 was one of my first consoles, and one of my consoles I really just sunk a lot of time into. So I've always leaned more towards their exclusives or single-player titles. Given that I didn't have a PS3 or PS4, the PS5 was kind of like the perfect dive back into all of those games and titles. That being said, I also picked up the Xbox Series X a couple months after the PS5. That's currently in the living room right now. And that has also been a really great, comparison to have both next-gen consoles side by side. Very fortunate. And I've had that for, again, over a year now. With that, I think the Series X, in terms of hardware, while obviously it's great and all that, it still very much feels like the traditional Xbox hardware. But where it lacks in like what might feel next-gen in terms of just like actual hardware, it makes up for it in its Game Pass offerings and subscriptions. So I'm on the Ultimate Game Pass plan, and I think in terms of quantity of games and day one releases, the Series X definitely takes the cake there. Just for me personally, I've just leaned more towards those single player titles. I can understand if you probably play more like cross-platform games or have like friends on the platform or play, PC gaming. The great thing about Xbox is it has that cross-platform compatibility with that Ultimate Game Pass plan. So in terms of full coverage, that goes to Xbox, but I've just personally gravitated more towards the PS5. All right, moving on to some hardware here. Let's talk about this Sonos Roam. This is a gift I got during the holidays. This is a portable speaker from the company that is Sonos. Big fan of the Sonos ecosystem. I have a couple Play 1s behind me. I have a Play 5 sitting back there on the mini fridge. I have Sonoses everywhere in the apartment, so this was an addition to that, and this is mainly for travel. This is the second portable speaker from them outside of the Move. This one's meant to be that ultimate portable product, one of their first products to integrate Bluetooth, which is not typical for Sonos products since they typically work off of a Wi-Fi network. But I'll be honest, I haven't used this much just because I haven't been traveling. I got this primarily, and I want it primarily for when I travel, when I go on trips. I'm going to be packing it for next week and using it more, but decent sound quality, has a voice control assistant built in, so either Google or Amazon, ties into the Sonos ecosystem, has some cool features such as if you're like listening to music outside, come inside, you can hold the button and it'll automatically sling the music playing from this over to your closest nearby Sonos speaker. So it is quote unquote a portable smart speaker. I will say when I first got it, there was a lot of pairing issues and battery issues with it just draining fast due to it being in the kind of standby mode. Sonos has since pushed out a firmware update that definitely made that much, much better since its release, but there was some hiccups due to the first product launch. But yeah, if you're going to get this, I'd say get it because you want a portable speaker and you're already in the Sonos ecosystem. Don't get this as your first entry-level Sonos speaker. I would recommend getting something like a Sonos Play 1 first, getting into the ecosystem, trying it out before getting something like the Roam or Move. Next up is a product that I'm actually wearing right now, and that is the Oura Ring. This is actually the second generation of Oura Ring. The third generation has since come out since I got this. If you don't know what an Oura Ring is, it's essentially a fitness tracker in ring form. So it does things like your calories burned and whatnot, measures activity if you're doing like sports and whatnot. Tracks, most importantly, sleep. It's another big thing. So it does sleep tracking when you're in your REM cycles, stuff like that. That's the main reason I got it, because I really want to start tracking a lot of that statistics and health stats. The thing about the Oura for me is, as somebody who has an Apple Watch, I tend to wear like different watches throughout the week and change it up. So I wasn't wearing the Apple Watch enough where I could kind of justify and have those stats consistently. Something like an Oura Ring is perfect because it's easy to put on, you kind of forget about it, and it's something that's easy to keep on, coupled with really great battery life. Definitely would recommend checking it out if you want something outside of like a fitness watch or band. I will say again, the third generation has come out, has better hardware, better sensors, but a caveat to that one is there is a subscription model built in to get more features. I personally haven't tried that one out yet. I've been happy with my second gen, but that's just something to note. All right, next up is more of a suite of products, and these are products I kind of picked up over the last year, and that is the Unifi suite of products. Unifi, if you're not familiar, is a Internet of Things or networking brand. We deploy a lot of their hardware, and that's why I'm most familiar with it in our business at Network Right to our clients. Namely, if you can see right here, my home lab / network rack behind me. So I bought a network cage and installed that under the desk there. That is featuring a UDM Pro, or the Unifi UDM Pro, as well as a Unifi 24-port switch. That's driving my whole network. That is like the source of everything that goes out to the entire home and smart home products. That runs it all, coupled with 3 UAPs, or those are Wi-Fi access points that Unifi is also very known for, tied in with some Unifi G3 instant security cameras. So I have the whole suite of products from their security arm, their networking arm, and their wireless access point arms. And they obviously do a ton of other products on their site. Unifi, if you know, you're in that kind of field of home networking or home labs. If you know what a home lab is, you probably know what Unifi is. But that being said, for majority of you out there, Unifi is overkill. A UDM Pro or this type of setup isn't necessary for anyone, even those in tech. You can get by with other mesh systems. This is just kind of that prosumer entry enterprise level hardware that you could get if you really want to take more control over your network, get deeper insights, get a cool interface and things like that. Again, completely overkill. I just happen to be a big fan of their hardware and integrated it here at home. Next up, let's talk about another rabbit hole that I've gotten into in the last couple months, and that is mechanical keyboards. So I originally picked up this Keychron Q1, not the Q2. The Q1 was the original box or keyboard that I got when I wanted to upgrade to a more above entry-level mechanical keyboard. You might be familiar with brands like Corsair or Logitech or Razer, and I'd say Keychron is a really good step above that while being comparable in price, but you just get way more bang for your buck in terms of quality and build. So currently, I have my Q1 right here on my desk. This is my daily driver. This is the cobalt blue edition here. Really, really like the colors. This thing is hefty. This is like metal and just solidly built. If you know anything about the keyboard community and mechanical keyboards, you know that there is a whole rabbit hole that you can go down. You can easily spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on these custom build type of boards. But Keychron offers a kind of all-in-one experience. You can buy the board. You can get a hot swappable version, which makes it easy to switch out your switches. I have Gateron blues and reds in this one. But I love the Q1 so much that when I originally bought that for my office, I decided I'm going to leave this one at the home office and get the second one that came out, which is a Q2 model. And I got that now at my office that I go to throughout the week. So Keychron Q1 and Q2. Nowadays, if you're buying one, I'd recommend looking at the Q2, Q3. I think even the Q4 is coming out because those are more well-built and they've improved upon the shortcomings of the previous models. That being said, they're not perfect. Obviously, there's a lot of better stuff out there. You can get better hardware and whatnot. But for best bang for buck, I think these Q series of products from Keychron are really great mechanical keyboards. I've done a couple mods to mine, tape mod, force break mod, but again, that's something for those who are more into it and really want to fine-tune their experience. All right, next up is the Sennheiser HD58X headphones. These are the Jubilees, the collab between Sennheiser and Mastrop. These are my daily drivers. These are just always here in the home studio and office. When I'm editing, when I'm gaming, I use these guys right here. Open back headphones, really comfortable padding, and these are my first pair of open backs, but these are super comfortable. And in terms of sound quality, what you're going to get in terms of sound imaging and sound staging, phenomenal. So if you're a gamer and you want to hear those footsteps and all of that, these really do that and achieve that very, very well while not giving the super over the top like LED gamer look when it comes to headsets. These are a really great balance between a phenomenal gaming headset while being balanced enough for like music, editing, so on and so forth. They're not perfect. They're obviously not top of the line, but for what they are, for what you pay, these Sennheiser's HD58X are an easy recommendation for me if you're looking for an all-around great gaming headphone and just general headphone and general headphone experience overall. All right, next up, I've gotten a suite of Elgato products over the last couple months. This was in an effort to increase in like streaming and just improve my quality of content. To be honest, I haven't put a lot of this to the use as much as I wanted to. This is the 4K 60 Pro. This is my capture card of choice that is in my computer. I also want to get their external capture card. I also have their Steam Decks. I have got two of these, one for the home studio and one for my office. The one at the office I use primarily on my Mac, and that's more of like a macro shortcut thing, whereas the Steam Deck here in the home studio controls my lighting, controls audio. I can use it to quickly record clips, things of that nature with OBS. So that's more meant and geared towards like the streaming recording setup, whereas the other one is just I use primarily for macros. You've seen the Steam Deck, very, very popular product. Every streamer I feel like has it. Very, very useful and just kind of cool macro keypad. I've also got a couple other stuff from Elgato. I got their multi-mount system. I have the ring light, which I've done a review on. Really great line of products if you're looking for anything streaming / content creation related. All right. Next up is my Synology DiskStation. This is the DS220J. I got this last year on sale, I believe, whether it was Black Friday or Amazon, I don't remember. This is like the entry-level NAS or network attached storage from Synology. Comes with some basic specs, 512 megabits of RAM, and 2 drive slot bay, which you can put, 2 drives in to RAID or increase your storage capacity. A network attached storage, the idea behind it is that you are putting your physical media and allowing it to be shareable and on the network. So you can easily take it from other computers, upload data to it, store it all in that central place. And Synology has software built in where it has an OS which you can do all sorts of stuff for backups and whatnot. Some people run Plex servers on it. They do all sorts of cool stuff. Synology is a really great brand for like entry level people who want a NAS that just kind of works out of the box. It's not something where you're like true NAS where you're kind of building it. Like you just buy it and you set it up and it works. That being said, my recommendation here is I got this DiskStation 220J. I want to say I have 2 6 terabyte drives in there in RAID for redundancy. But if you're looking and you're going to be expanding your storage needs and all of that down the road, probably look to get the models and spend a little bit extra, even if you don't initially need it, just because down the road it's going to save you more, if anything. So consider your options when you're looking for a backup or NAS solution, and always look at the different models out there. Might be worth to pay a little extra in the beginning to get the exact model you want, whether that's Synology or some other NAS brand. All right. Next up, and this has been a staple and kind of daily driver, got this a couple months back. This is the Apple MacBook Pro. This is technically the 2021/22 edition, 14-inch M1 Pro Max, 64 gigs of RAM. This thing is spec'd out, 1 terabyte hard drive. This is my daily driver in terms of a laptop. So I really want to upgrade in terms of my laptop. Given now that I go to an office Monday through Friday, I wanted to get something that was just a workstation that can, take a beating and, give a lot of horsepower as well as work for content creation and whatnot. So this MacBook Pro achieves all of that while going back to this new refreshed design from Apple, which I think is my favorite in recent years. You get your SD card slot back, you get your USB-C ports, you get HDMI, MagSafe, the whole 9, all in this really great 14-inch form factor. I settled for the 14-inch because previously it was on a 13-inch, and I previously before that had a 16-inch, so that 14-inch was a perfect spot for portability meets decent screen size when I'm on the go. I'm going to do a more in-depth review on that, but again, my favorite MacBook to date. They did just recently come out with the M2 MacBook chips for the Air and the 13-inch Pro, so we'll have to see how those compare. but the Pro Max is definitely overkill for most people. The M1 Max will do a lot of people fine. I just wanted to really spec this out since it's going to be my daily driver. Speaking of Macs, I also recently got a Mac Studio last week. It's in our office. It's on my desk there. I haven't really truly set it up yet, but did a quick unboxing. I plan on doing more videos on that down the road after I put it through its paces. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that content. All right, wrapping up here. Another big ticket item that I got recently that you can't actually, I can't physically hold it, but you can see here in the reflection above me is the LG C1 OLED. I actually picked this up last year during the Super Bowl weekend of all things because I wanted a second TV to be an overhead TV here in my studio and office. This is my old 55-inch Samsung TV I got back in like 2016. Honestly, this never really gets used, but I wanted a new TV. This is the C1 OLED 46-inch edition. They recently, however, just came out with a C2 OLED and a 42-inch variant, which a lot of people are praising because the other reason I got this TV to be an overhead display is to be an actual PC monitor. So this is like my overhead display. A lot of people are trying this setup out with an OLED TV as their display. A lot of people have done really, really great videos on this and their experience with burn-in and whatnot and how to negate that. But if you're looking for a TV to do that very purpose, to serve as a monitor, a TV, a gaming monitor, especially because the C1 and C2 OLEDs are they support up to 120 hertz. They're obviously OLED, so you get those deep blacks, HDR. This is hands down one of the best lineup of TVs you can get for next-gen consoles or next-gen hardware like 3060s, 70s, 80s. This is going to take advantage of all that. So all around, all of that package in a super thin design. I'm such a fan of these LG TVs that I have gotten the LG C9 in my bedroom. I then got the LG C10 for the living room, and then I now have the C1 here in the office. And eventually, we'll plan to probably try out that C2 as an even smaller form factor monitor for a desk. So definitely a huge fan of these LG TVs. All right, last but not least is what you see behind me. Something that I've been accruing over the last couple of months is a collection of retro consoles. It's something that maybe it's just a nostalgia bug, but I've really gotten into retro gaming and really wanted to rebuild titles and get a lot of the consoles that I either A, had as a kid, coupled with the games I had, or B, getting the consoles I never had growing up since I kind of moved over to PC gaming pretty quickly. So with that, you can see here I have things like multiple Xbox models here. I had some shipped back from Japan from my original Xbox 360. I have a Nintendo Wii, a SNES, which I recently picked up. This is the Model 2. I have a GameCube down here, which I never had growing up. Always had to play at friends' houses. I have a original Sony PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 Slim, my favorite console growing up in general, PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo 64 over there on the farther corner, alongside a plethora of controllers here that I've been testing out and trying. It's definitely been one of my recent hobbies and something I've been really getting into and collecting, coupled with a ton of different games. I have a huge catalog of games I have to play through, but it's a big part of what I want to hopefully start uploading on the channel and sharing more about and content around. So retro gaming, been a huge passion of mine as of late and something I've been, as you can clearly see, investing a little bit into. So yeah, not much to say there. There's not much to review since these are just old hardware. This is more of a passion project than anything. But with that, hope you enjoyed. Quickly going through a ton of these products that I've just had and want to kind of throw my quick thoughts out there on. Again, I plan on getting more in-depth reviews for some of this big ticket items out there very soon. This was just a catalyst to kind of get the ball rolling. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And as always, thanks a lot for watching.